morning. We are coming to you live this morning from the Grand Theater in Wausau, the snowy Grand Theater in Wausau. We were just lamenting. I am Katy Felch. I am the Vice President of Community and Government Relations for North Central Technical College and last year's SED Young Professional winner. So I have to say, I'm a little less nervous this year than last year, being in the seat that Katy is. We've got the Katy today. We are here with Katy Lang. Katy, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. First of all, I think we should start a podcast.
Yeah, it's Katy and Katy. It could also be Katrina and Katrina. We realize we are both actually Katrinas.
We truly, we are. So if it goes well, we'll be in touch about that podcast. But
Brian can market us.
Perfect. He can film it. He can be our engineer. I love it. But yeah, my name is Katy Lang. I'm the Director of Development and Community Engagement here at the Grand Theater. I've been here for about 5 years now, and it's just been watching how this place grows and how we just keep progressing as an organization, and I love working somewhere that is such a huge part of the community. So
wonderful.
Happy to have you here today. Thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. Well, we're glad to have you in our community. This is such a pride of our community, and thank you for your work leading here.
Thank you.
And I know you shared with me a little bit, you have an interest in perhaps owning a theater or directing a theater yourself someday. Is that right?
I think so. Yeah, that's sort of on the maybe 10-year plan. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, I can't imagine myself doing anything other than working in the arts. And I think that ideally someday I would be maybe an executive director of a theater myself. So I've got a really great mentor here with Sean Wright. He's doing a great job of letting me be his protege and learn from him. And giving me lots of opportunities to learn and grow and figure things out for myself. So yeah, I would love to someday run a place similar to the Grand, or maybe the Grand. I don't know. Who knows?
Well, it's wonderful to be able to have those mentors who can really lead and guide us. So tell us a little bit about how you perhaps have advocated on behalf of others.
Sure. I think it's super important to help other people, especially women, in the workplace, learn how to use their voice and advocate for themselves and be comfortable running a project. So something that I was thinking about this question, and as much as I love to involve, I love to work with women-owned businesses. We do a lot of community engagement events here at the Grand where we partner with community partners, and I think it's really fun to help amplify women-owned businesses or just organizations run by really strong women. I work well with everyone, but I really love getting to know other strong, powerful women. But an example of how I helped sort of amplify the voice of a woman, during the pandemic, we obviously didn't do a lot of what we typically do here at the Grand.
Understandable.
Right, so we had...
Hard to social distance in the theater.
It's tough. So we really had to reinvent the wheel a little bit and try to just completely reinvent how we do programming. We didn't want to be closed for who knows how long. So we did a lot of virtual programming. We got to really try new things and just kind of see what stuck. And a slightly younger female employee who was our marketing coordinator at the time, very used to working behind the scenes and sort of capturing what was already happening and helping promote it, had a really, really great idea for a project for local artists called the New Normal Festival, which was a celebration of work created during a time of uncertainty. And she had this really, really great idea. And she basically asked me, she's like, oh, Katy, here's my idea. Can you make this happen? And I was like, you can make this happen. Here's how we do it. And so that was really special. And I got to teach her how to plan an event, which I had been doing for 3 or 4 years at the time, sort of running my own programs and events. And watching her get to do it and just teaching her basic things. It wasn't hard. It was like, here's how you connect with artists. Here are some of the places that I would go to solicit work. Or here is how my contracts look when I issue contracts. This is what I think is a fair compensation for these artists, things like that. Very basic things. And then she got to run with it, which was really cool because now she has this great project on her resume, and now she's working in New York City. So so she's working in programming herself now, going from marketing to programming.
Sure.
So
wow, pretty amazing. And you maybe planted that seed. You
I
know,
hope
she
so.
really had to step out, act courageously, but add your mentorship and guidance, which is pretty amazing. Kudos to you. So tell me, is there an example that you can think of where you acted courageously?
Yeah.
Aside from, managing a theater and COVID, which probably took a lot of courage.
Yeah, thank you for, yes.
Acknowledging that.
Yeah, something that, we started to talk about this a little bit before the camera was rolling, but I think just stepping up in general, as I get older and get more experience and start to take on more responsibility at the Grand, that has taken some courage for me. Just to accept more responsibility for such a historic place that is such a huge part of this community is hard, and just accepting more of that weight. But then also taking on a little bit more of a public role has been strange for me.
Well, you're doing great today.
Thank
It's
you.
very public, real live.
It is.
Also Wausau.
Yes,
You're doing a great job.
Thank you. Yeah, so I've been here working for the Grand and obviously standing by what we do for 5 years, but only for the past year have I been the director of development, which is a much bigger responsibility, and it involves having to advocate for what we do, and to say to people, this matters. The programs that have come from my brain and my heart matter, and here's why, which I think is hard for anyone to do, to just see why what I do has value. So that has taken, I've only been doing it for a year, but that has taken a lot of growth on my part, and I've had to really grow in my confidence and my courage to just publicly say, here's what I do and here's why you should care. But yeah, just being a public leader rather than a behind-the-scenes leader. We talked a little bit before. We both are we're journalism students, so I think we're both
tapping into those skill sets from
we
back
are.
in the day.
So we're both
Proud Badgers.
Go Badgers. Maybe a little bit more used to being behind the camera, and sometimes being a leader means you gotta step up in front of the camera and show
put yourself
people.
out there. Absolutely.
Right.
Well, you're doing a great job, and I'm sure Sean would say the same. You touched a little bit about that community piece, that community connection. Obviously, the Grand very well connected to the community. What are some other ways that you are giving of your time and talents to our community other than your work here at the Grand?
Yeah, one of my favorite parts that sort of stemmed from a project that I started for the Grand, and then sort of became something that I just do because I like to do it, is working with high school musical theater students, because high school is such a weird time. And it's important for them to not only have really strong mentors who can show them this is what a career in the arts looks like, but also to have a connection with each other. So I started the Central Wisconsin Jerry Ensemble shortly after starting here at the Grand, which is
I'm familiar.
Yeah.
It's a great organization.
Thank you. So it's a group of high school musical theater students from all over north central Wisconsin. We go as far south as Stevens Point. We've gone all the way up to Eagle River. We've got students from Eau Claire this year. But that's really special to watch them have an opportunity to really bond with people who are so similar to them in a way that they might not in their own schools. I also work with the Central Wisconsin Educational Theater Alliance. I'm a board member for that organization. When I was in high school, I was a member. I participated in their shows. And
full circle moment.
Oh yeah, it's all full circle. It's so funny how you end up doing the things. Yeah, I'm very lucky to get to help facilitate and support the projects that made me who I am.
Right.
So,
well, and I love that you mentioned that earlier. You remember as a child, out of Marathon coming to the Grand Theater, getting on that bus, and now you get to provide those experiences for kids, which is pretty amazing.
Thank you so much. Yeah, no, I really love it. That's probably the most special part about my job, and I love to tell when I work with high school students or even younger. I love to be like, oh, when I did my Swedish show, when I in 2012 or whenever it was, they're like, oh, you did that? Kind of freaks them out a little bit,
right.
And then I tell them how old I am, and
we just don't talk about that.
No, they don't want to think about it. But it is special, and I think it creates a connection, and it shows where you can be. And I hope that they look at what I'm doing now and are inspired and proud, because I want them to be proud of me too. And I do want to be a role model. So I think I'm very grateful for the relationships I have built through those youth mentorship programs. And I hope I get to keep doing it. It's one of my favorite parts about living in Wausau, is getting to be such a part of the community and running into these kids at Target or wherever. And that's something special about this community, I think, is that we're all connected in more than one way.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I am just so grateful that I had an opportunity to chat with you today, Katie, build this connection. Maybe perhaps you'll see us in the future together on a podcast. I don't know. We've really set a strong foundation here.
I think so.
I can absolutely understand why you were nominated, such a wonderful, tireless advocate for women, for our community, for this beautiful space. So thank you so much for taking time today to chat with me.
Of course, thank you for coming. In the snow.
Yes, in the snow. You know, it's like a Christmas carol. It makes me think of a Christmas carol.
I'll think of it that way. That's a nice way to look at it.
Yeah, back to that theater tie. So.
Well, thanks to both of you. And this is the inaugural episode of the Katy and Katy Show, I guess. This is Brian Otten, the marketing director at the Chamber, behind the camera. Just reminding everybody that's watching that the ATHENA Awards will be held on Wednesday, November 9th. It's a lunchtime program at the Jefferson Street Inn downtown Wausau. Encourage you to learn more or to register at wausauchamber.com. And thanks for watching this interview. There will be 3 more today and 1 on Monday. So stay tuned. Thank you.